Got a complaint of a walk-in cooler running warm today. We are showing 28.6 degrees Celsius. Alarm on high temp. 28 degrees Celsius is about 80 some degrees. Says system running. The first thing I'm noticing is a chart recorder here. It's been down for a while. Looks like since Sunday. About 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Sunday, our temp and everything went all to hell. First thing I noticed was the lights are out. I tried the switch and the lights didn't work. I got no evaporator fans. Coil doesn't look to be froze up. So, I have to dig into that and see why our evaporator fans aren't running. Our condenser. The compressor does feel like it's running. Nothing in the sight glass. I remember taking the condenser. Have a charge issue. We'll have to go back up to the evaporator. Everything else looks normal in here. Fan is running. Coil probably needs to be cleaned. So let's get back up top and go from there. Oh yeah, we got something going on here. So here's what we got. This is an interesting setup here, but basically this is our liquid line solenoid. So it energizes like a normal cooler, feeds into the TXV into there. That is a hot gas solenoid which bypasses the expansion valve and feeds right into the top here. Now, I'm not an expert on these systems, but basically it uses the hot gas defrost. It uses the hot gas to defrost and as a temperature control via a PID loop in that control system outside that we were looking at. So I'm putting hot gas through my coil right now. So that tells me why my fans aren't running, because I got a warm evaporator coil. So let's come over here and see. I'm just checking with a screwdriver for magnetized. Liquid line's open. And I believe this hot gas, I know it's open because I can feel it, but this is a normally open valve. It energizes closed. So this valve should be energized too to close that hot gas. So back to our control. Let's see why the hell I'm feeding both my liquid and my hot gas. They should not be open at the same time, and yet they are. So back to our control here. Open this guy up. And the first thing I see, this relay, we got a wire fell off. And I'm pretty sure that does our hot gas. So we got our coil voltage. And then, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like that terminal and this terminal is a normally closed contact. So that would be sending power to energize that hot gas solenoid. Just looking at them, you can tell this terminal doesn't have anything on it. We've been plugged onto that one there. So let's give this a shot. I have looked at this, and so hopefully nothing blows up. But we're at 27.7. Let's see what that did to our solenoid. Still feeding hot gas. No doubt about that. So we got no power to the relay. Let's check our voltage coming in here. We had 3-phase power coming in. Where am I losing my power? Ah, how about that? Why is that open? With a wire just hanging there. What the hell is going on here? And that wire does feed the outlets, and looks like fans and everything else. Let's check our fuses. We know this one, it's got a fuse in it. Should be open. So top fuse is open. That one's good. All the other fuse is good. It looks like that wire just broke off of there. So let's get that fixed and see what happens. This gets weirder. The fuse is gone altogether. It's not even in there. Somebody's been messing with this thing. I found that fuse laying in the bottom there. So let's see if our fuse has continuity. And the fuse tests good. I have no idea what the hell this thing's doing, but let's fix our wire and get our fuse back in, because we're not feeding power through that evaporator. So I'm not sure what the hell's going on here. Maybe a glitch in this system. So I just turned the system off, and all of my relays energized. I now have power to my hot gas solenoid. So basically, none of these solenoids were energized. You got CR5 and 6 is my liquid line, my hot gas. 1, 2, 6 and 7 are all room control relay. These are evaporator fan contactors, blah, blah, blah. But none of my relays were energized. And I turned the system off, and they energized. So I'm a little confused on what's going on. I did go ahead and fix my wire, and everything was back powered up. Let's see what happens when we turn it on. System running. I heard it kick on inside. And my relays stay energized. What the hell? Still got no lights. You can see I'm feeding refrigerant now, not hot gas. So I'm guessing on the other side there's going to be a temperature switch to get this evaporator down to a certain temperature, and then should kick my fans on. This is a little odd. I have no idea what caused this. So basically started punching buttons out there. I fixed a leak on this bad boy. So I might check it again. You can see some oil that's probably residual from last time, but basically this flare nut on top here was leaking. Probably back in the cold winter months back in January. I got that tightened down, was able to fix the leak. And hadn't had any problems out of it since until decided to go crazy. See if our fans come on. Let's go back out and look at our control. I know it's hot. So this is basically the same thing it was telling me earlier. Evaporator fans off, lights off, door heater off, defrost off. It says the hot gas solenoid's off, which it is now because my relay's energized. My liquid line was on, but that's the same thing it was telling me earlier. Yes. Silence. So we're going to watch it for a few minutes to make sure our evaporator fans come on. This is my contactor for the evaporator fans there, CLN01. So we're going to watch it for a few minutes. The box is 80 degrees. It may take a few minutes for those fans to come on. And we'll see what happens from there. I have no idea what this thing is doing, but I got guessing for some reason fuse fell out, wire fell off, another wire fell off, then the control was acting up. That's weird. Or somebody's been in here playing with shit, didn't know what they was doing, just started pulling wires off and messing with shit. So we'll watch to see what happens. So, we are running now. I got lights on. They do this to me all the time, but this place has been shut down. And finally had one of the electrician engineer guys come up, and he said, "Oh yeah, I pulled that fuse out." He was was working on, he pulled the fuse for what was old receptacles that they had water leaking and everything else, so they just did away with them altogether, which is fine. It would have been nice to know in the beginning. But anyways, he had to put it in override, so we're gonna have to test and check everything, but we are running now. We got a good frost pattern. Hot gas isn't flowing anymore. All my fans are working. You can see what I'm doing now. Evaporator doesn't look too bad, and I have no idea what the hell happened. So back to here. They're hitting override and override. So initially what I was thinking was an issue with this control. Kinda was and is with this PLC controller here. So I believe what happened, I had it running for about 20 minutes. It doesn't see the temperature dropping, and I don't know how fast it has to drop for it to not shut back off in override mode, but it's wanting to drop out and cut everything back off. So for right now, we're gonna go down and clean the coil, and then come back out and give it a long run time and check our superheat. We're already set up with the field piece to get our evaporator superheat and all that good stuff, but other than that, everything looks okay at this point. Sight glass was clear and everything was running outside, so let's see what happens. So we got our condenser clean. Everything's back up and running. We're gonna check our pressures and everything. I gotta do them separately because the cooler's on the second floor and I can't get a reading. But anyways, right now, sight glass, just barely a few bubbles. I don't know if you can see that, but for the most part, it's pretty clear. She just flashed a little bit. We gotta have our eye on it in there right now. So, like I said before, this does not bump down. We're running about a 9 degree subcooling. So, this is a CPR valve. Crankcase pressure regulator. So as it satisfies, the hot gas solenoid inside opens and allows hot gas flow, and then our CPR valve regulates the pressure into the accumulator and then back into the crankcase of the compressor. So it's kind of an interesting setup. Get upstairs and check our evaporator superheat. But for right now, I think between the coil being dirty and them playing around with this thing, it just didn't satisfy the box temperature quick enough and kept alarming as they were trying to override it. So we're gonna watch for a little while and just make sure everything looks good. Also has head pressure control valve for low ambient operation. Basically, this condenser never shuts off. So I did find our piping diagram. Compressor discharge. This goes to my solenoid valve for the hot gas inside at the evaporator. This is outside. It's basically my head pressure control. It's opens on differential pressure and feeds into the receiver. Bypasses the condenser. Goes through the condenser to the drain regulator, receiver, filter dryer, liquid line out to my TXV, and this is the suction line coming back. Suction line filter. There's your CPR valve. That's the crankcase pressure regulator into the accumulator, and then back to the compressor. You don't find these every day, but it makes it nice. We are coming down. We're running about a 50-degree box temp, about 28 degrees superheat. Running 8-degree temperature split, so not bad right now. We'll see where she levels out at once the box temp comes down. So we're at about 6 degrees, looking pretty good. The superheat continues to drop. Still about that 8-degree subcooling. It keeps dropping out on me. Temperature drop 11 degrees. We're gonna check our sight glass and call this one good. 18-degree evaporator. You can watch it for a little while longer, make sure my hot gas modulates like it's supposed to. But that PID basically controls a tighter temperature, so it doesn't get much out of range of that 40-degree mark of the set point of it. You know, as other temperature controllers will pump the system down, turn the cooler off, and let it raise 3 to 4 degrees, and then turn everything back on. You don't get that inrush current, and it is a consistent temperature of 40 degrees as long as everything's working right. Like I said, everything's looking good right now, so we're going to check our sight glass one more time now that we're down to temp and see where we go from there. Cleared our sight glass. I did go ahead and add about a pound or two just to clear it up. Last time I charged this, it was 20 degrees outside in the middle of January, so I think it was just off just a little bit. But sight glass is clear. We're going to check our superheat again up with the evaporator and call this one good to go. It's kind of an interesting setup. But, so to recap, everything's running now. We cleared our sight glass, just a little bit of refrigerant. Here's our PID loop. Cooling's on, heating's off, defrost is off. Once it hits its set point, it gets difficult. We're at 4 degrees Celsius, right about 40. But when that hot gas energizes, the pressures go all over the place. It's hard to get an accurate reading. That's why I wanted to connect and make sure while I had a straight cooling call and no hot gas. And I'm just checking everything at that point, but we are definitely down to temp, and I don't like this, but for whatever reason, this is our alarm. High of 14, low of 2, and basically once this alarms, it doesn't just alarm, it shuts everything down. It shuts the lights off, all my solenoids open. It's just fucking weird how it's tied in. All of this is got nothing to do with me. This is all the controls, and we're not going to mess with any of that. We're going to leave that for the experts. I've got it cooling. All my readings look good. Refrigerant charge looks good, so we're going to call this one good right now. And if they have any more issues, they might have to get the controls guy. There was a factory startup done on this unit. We're just kind of the middleman now. When it breaks down, they call us. So everything looks good. Let me know what you guys think. If y'all have seen anything like this, got a little more information for me. Maybe something I missed. Like I said, I'm not an expert on these things. This is a little bit of a weird setup, but we got her going. So I've been ending this video for 3 different times now, but It just came to me as I was writing it up what the hell was going on. So this control, I said I didn't like the way it was set up. It's actually doing what it's supposed to. So it turns the lights off and the heaters off if it gets into an alarm condition. It energizes the liquid line solenoid and de-energizes the hot gas solenoid. The problem is this relay, our hot gas solenoid, was put in and it's the incorrect solenoid. It's a normally open solenoid that when energized, it closes. So when I de-energized, or the control thought it was de-energizing the solenoid, it was actually leaving it open. And I was flowing hot gas and liquid at the same time, which is not going to cool very well. So that's where my problem lies, and that makes sense now. So we're going to have to change the solenoid, get the correct solenoid in, and go back to using their relay instead of this 9341 or whatever it is. It's 120 volt cool. So just a heads up that came to me. I thought I'd let you guys know.